Hey guys, welcome back to LTG. It's good to see you guys. If y'all want to go ahead and hold hands so we can sing Shout to the Lord. I'm just joking, we don't really do that. How's y'all's week, Corey?
It's going pretty good. It's quite a zoo around our house these days with a new baby. We have a 3-month-old, 2.5-year-old, and a 5-year-old. So, it's a zoo, but things are going pretty well. I have a funny story for y'all. This is really more embarrassing for me, but I'll go ahead and share it with y'all because y'all will understand, being moms yourselves. My oldest, being 5, he's in preschool, and he was having a Mother's Day tea at his school, and Collins, the baby, was 2 weeks old. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to pull it together, get everybody situated so I can be there with him for this tea, because he was so excited about it. They'd been getting stuff ready for it. So I show up, and the teachers had done this amazing job. I mean, they had tablecloths and flowers, and they had made us a little flower pot, and they had a gift and cookies and tea and all this stuff. And then there was a recipe card, and I thought, oh, how cute, I wonder what they did. And the teacher said, we wanted to tell the moms that we asked your child what their favorite meal was that you made for them. And I automatically was like, probably, he probably chose spaghetti or pizza or something like that. Lo and behold, I look at my card, and what does my child say is his favorite meal that I cook for him? Cheerios. Cheerios. Then the teacher says, well, then we asked them how you made the meal. So the card says, well, my mommy takes out the Cheerios, takes out a bowl, takes out the milk, gets out a spoon, pours it in, and dinner is served. And so needless to say, I was pretty embarrassed, but with a 2-week-old, what do you do? So anyways, y'all understand how that goes. But
How about you, Paige?
Can't go wrong with Cheerios. Well, I have the 2-year-old, and she's still quite crazy. And Sophia's just turned 7. So last year we went for her birthday to Florida, and this year we had to try to top it somehow. But in Lubbock, it's kind of hard to beat the beach. But we tried, got a giant water slide, put it in the backyard. She was totally speechless when she saw it. After the girls had their fun, Mark and his friend decided it was their turn to have a party. They lotion each other up with, it was baby oil, all glistening in the sun. They go down that slide so super fast. Their goal was to completely clear the water in the pool below and end up outside. And they did it. Mark did it. He landed on his face in the grass outside the pool. We figured out that the 30s, they're here, and we can't be acting like children and playing like them because we don't recover quite as fast. So definitely learned a lot this birthday.
Very cool. Jade?
It's been a good summer. Noah's been on the road with Carl all summer. So Merritt and I are getting in a lot of good girl time and pink and glitter and sparkly stuff. But Noah has learned how to call and text me on Carl's phone whenever he's asleep or busy or something. So he'll call me and ask me what I'm doing. I'll ask him what he's doing. And then he'll say, okay, I'm going to hang up and text you now. And our conversations usually go something like, I love you too, I miss you too, you're so pretty, you're so handsome, things like that. But he's really gotten into the weather, so he's decided he's going to start looking up the weather and telling me if there's anything I need to look out for, because he thinks it's his job to protect me. So I don't know if he's looking at the weather in Lubbock or wherever he is, which is anywhere between here and California at any given time. He texted me one day and said, you make my days cute, but there is no storms. So I thought that was really sweet.
That's so sweet. We have been, had a busy summer. We just had our little girl Nixon 5 weeks ago, so we're still kind of adjusting to the whole not sleeping and the schedules and all of that stuff. But we're also adjusting to having a little girl in the house instead of just boys, which is what we've had before. And so with that comes a lot of questions about where her equipment is and why her equipment has not grown in yet. So all of these super awkward questions that I'm getting that Clayton is never home for somehow when they come up, So it's been a summer of awkwardness and distraction for sure, but it's been good. But what do you guys feel like is a prayer that God has answered for you and your family recently?
For me, it's just been, with the zoo that's going on at my house, it's a lot of sleep deprivation, and I'm up in the night feeding. Can I say feeding?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Feeding an infant in the middle of the night. So I'm up and I'm thinking and I'm falling asleep and then I'm up thinking. And so I do pray a lot and read a lot 3 a.m. And my prayer lately has just been for patience, because with sleep deprivation comes a short fuse with my older two. And so days in the summer become very long with 3 children at home. And so I've just been praying for patience with them and to take a deep breath before addressing a discipline problem or addressing them in this way or that way. And I stumbled upon a verse one night, and I've just been really trying to meditate on it. And it's Psalm 143:8. It says, "Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for I've put my trust in you." And so I just really feel like God has answered my prayer of helping me start fresh each morning. No guilt. Here we go. We're starting a new day as a mom of 3 kids, being home all together. So he's really, really answered my prayer of patience and just putting my trust in his unfailing love.
Or you could just drop them off at Walmart, like is what I've kind of thought about doing. I mean, not that I would ever do that, but that's an option if you wanted to do that.
Really?
Yeah. So. What about you, Paige?
Somebody will pick them up. Well, I know I've asked y'all before to pray for my cousin, because she's gone through years of getting pregnant and getting excited and then soon having a miscarriage. And that's happened multiple times each year. But she finally is pregnant again, and she went to the doctor, and all her levels are super high where they should be. And she's 21 weeks right now, carrying a healthy baby. They're not going to find out the sex. So it's even more exciting because they've had such a hard time actually getting a baby stuck. But it's stuck, and it's cute. So hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll have another answered
Awesome.
prayer.
That's very cool. What about you, Jade?
Well, we've had so much turmoil in our family over the last couple of years. I felt like I neglected my parenting, and Noah and I have not been getting along for a while. And so it's kind of been good that he's been gone all summer, but I've just been praying that God would just show me how I could be more patient with him and just more understanding of the person that he is. And I've learned that you shouldn't pray for patience, because you're going to get situations that cause you to need patience, which is bad when you don't have any. It's just been really nice that whenever he has come home, we've had mommy-son dates, and it's just been really sweet time. And I've learned new ways to try to relate to him, and I've just been leaning on God, knowing that He's going to give me that peace that I can be calm, and it's worked great so far.
Very cool. Well, we talk a lot about how LTGs are where your growth with God comes from, and it also is where you build a whole lot of really lifelong friendships. So what do you feel like is a way that LTGs impacted you and your family?
My husband and I moved back to Lubbock 2 years ago. We were born and raised here. We moved away to go to college, and we thought we were never going back to Lubbock, Texas. Well, here we are, and we will probably be here forever. So we were church hopping, trying to find a new church home, and we found eLife and decided this is the place for us. But we were walking into church each week going, we don't know anyone, there's so many people, there's so many services, how are we going to meet people? And so we were challenged to join an LTG, and we found a group for us with couples with kids, and we show up, and it was just awesome. And my favorite part about LTGs each week is splitting up into guys and girls, just having girl time. We can get in a circle, we can just lay it all out there, cry, laugh, whatever we want to talk about. Somebody in the circle has been through it or can give me some advice, whether it be about first days of kindergarten, having a baby, feeding a baby, marriage problems, job issues, money problems, triumphs, just anything going on. It's just an awesome time to just lay it all out there with girlfriends. And so that's what I look forward to each week in our LTG.
And we got to meet you actually for the Halloween party, which was nice to see y'all completely dressed up as critters. Good first impression. And I love LTG groups. I'm more on the social awkward side, especially in groups. And it's really good to get to meet in a small group where you have a small crowd and you're not forced to talk. You're not forced to give your biblical insight and wisdom on whatever it is that week. You can just sit there and keep your mouth shut and eat snacks or spill your whole life story. But it's really awesome. I've made my best, closest friends for life, and it's been a great experience.
Yeah, LTGs are definitely for the awkward people. Jade, what about you?
This is a loaded question for me. Lifehouse has become a huge, important part of my life. Over the last 2 years, I've made my best friends there. I dove right in. I crashed the first LTG I ever showed up at. I just Facebook messaged and said, hey, I need to join a group, so can I come to yours? I'm glad that you said yes. But I love having friends, people that I can call any time of day who can hang out with me. We can just, whatever, we can talk, whatever. I love going and being able to spill anything that I have going on. And hopefully at some point I've been able to give, back information or advice to someone like they've done to me. And it's been so nice to know that I have supportive people who have the same beliefs and ideals that I do, that I can just lean on when I'm by myself all the time. It's just been great. When Merritt was born, I didn't cook for almost 2 months, which is crazy. I had food all the time. Our water went out one time during a snowstorm. People showed up at my door with water. Like, they just want to help you and be your friends. And I just love that I have that. I've never had it before, and I'm glad I found it here.
Awesome. Well, you guys did so good. I know this is not easy to do. So if you guys would give them a hand for being up here, that'd be great.
So for the ladies this weekend and the guys last weekend, can we give them one more round of applause just for doing this? This is hard. This isn't easy, okay? I know some of you guys, if we called you and you're like, hey, would you come up on stage and talk to thousands of people about LTGs? You'd be like, not in a million years, okay? So the very fact, just think about this. The very fact these guys last weekend, these ladies this weekend would do this tells you something about LTGs, doesn't it? Like that they're willing to risk embarrassment and humiliation in front of a bunch of people, even though they all did great, just so that you guys would know groups have made a big impact on their lives. I remember one of my friends I shared last week, and one of the guys, and he was like, dude, Chris, how do you guys do this every weekend? Seriously, like, what if I trip going up there? Like, what if I just like lay out on the ground in front of everybody? It's gonna be crazy. Like, dude, you can do great. And they all did well, but I think we just want to do something a little creative, kind of give you a sneak peek into what a group looks like. And obviously we do more questions than that, and they last longer than that, but just wanted you to see really what it was like. Now, Clayton asked me, Clayton's he's one of our pastors and over groups here, and he asked me the second week, the closing week of the group series, just kind of wrap it up and talk to you guys about how important groups are and why you should get involved in a group. That's what he asked me to do, but I want to do something a little different, okay? And so if you're taking notes, you're going to want to take notes on this for sure. But I want to give you 3 reasons why you should ignore everything Clayton told you last weekend. Serious. 3 reasons you should avoid groups at all costs, okay? Just like write this down. If you got a pen, I would write this down. You should memorize this. This is huge because here's the thing. I want to tell you something. Clayton didn't tell you the whole story last weekend. He told you all groups, you get involved in a group and it's, grow spiritually and all that. And he was talking out of Acts 2, right? It was Acts 2. He talks about how they, as a group, they'd get together and they devoted themselves to, the apostles' teaching and fellowship, breaking bread and prayer. And the thing about it is, he didn't tell you what happened after that. Like that was Acts 2:42. He didn't tell you what happened after, because if he would have told you what happened after, some of you would have left going, there in any way I'm getting involved in a group, okay? Because some crazy things happened after these early believers started meeting together in groups. Do you know that? like some crazy stuff went down, I just thought, I'm your pastor, okay? I thought you just deserve the full truth, okay? You need to know everything about what happens when people start meeting together in groups. So these early believers, New Testament, Acts 2, they start meeting together, Acts 2:42, that's what he shared. And then if you keep going, Acts 2:43 and so on, you see what happened. And so 3 reasons, straight out of the Bible, sort of, that you should ignore everything Clayton said last week. And okay, here's reason number 1, first passage. If you're taking notes, Acts 2:43, this is what happened after they met in a group. A deep sense of awe came over them all, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. And it wasn't just the apostles. Like you read throughout the book of Acts, believers would get together, they would start praying, and miracles would start happening. So here's reason number 1, you shouldn't get involved in a group and ignore everything Clayton said. Here it is right here. Reason number 1, if you're taking notes, don't get in a group if you don't like miracles. All right, got that? Take notes. Don't get in a group if you don't like miracles. Like if you're like, I don't like miracles, like walking on water. I mean, come on, I'd rather watch a movie, okay? Like if you're not even into miracles, okay, you should not get involved in a group. Because what happened afterwards, after the Acts 2:42 thing, they get involved in a group, they start seeing miracles. Why? Because they start praying together. Jesus still loves to answer prayer. Remember the last series, Theology 101, because God can do anything he wants to do. We're going to what? We're going to pray, and we're going to never give up. And so these groups, and the ladies talked about it today, they get together and they pray. You know what happens when you pray according to God's will? You see powerful answers to prayer. You see miracles. So if you're not into miracles, you're like, I don't like miracles. You're not into miracles, you would hate being involved in a group, okay? So that's reason number 1. Don't get involved in a group if you're not really into miracles. Let's keep going. See, they're straight from the Bible. Y'all know that's in the Bible. This is incredible. Okay, next part. Next verse. Acts 2:44, I'm following. And all the believers, here's what happened next, groups. This is what happens when you get together as a group. All the believers met together in one place, and what'd they do? They shared everything they had. They sold their property, possessions, and shared the money with those in need. So here's reason number 2. If you're taking notes, I would not get involved in a group. I'd ignore everything the group's guy said. Reason number 2, don't get in a group if you don't like to share, okay? Serious. And as adults, right, we can be selfish sometimes, not like to share. Oh, my money's mine. My time is, I'm not sharing my money, it's my toys, these are my possessions. They were giving their stuff away. They get together in groups, and one of the things they were known for is that they shared not just their money, not just their possessions, but their time. They were a serving people. Sometimes that's what happens when you get involved in a group. You kind of become a more sharing type of person, more of a servant than you were, more into sharing than you were before. I led a men's group about a year ago. We met during lunch on Wednesdays at Rose's, all right? Thank you. One person likes that place. Okay, so we met there, all right, we did. And so we serve as groups. That's what I love about groups is we have some people on staff that are networking with our local missions partners, and we get information to the groups about where you can serve and what you can do. And so a lot of these groups adopt one of our missions partners or a classroom or a school or something like that. Anyways, we adopted a classroom, the men's, okay, this was a men's, okay, men's LTG that met at lunch. And wives, some of us were married, some just had girlfriends, some were single, but it was just men getting together. And so we decided to adopt a classroom at this school. One of the things we had to do for Christmas, because we were a sharing group, so what happens when you start meeting together, is they had us adopt this classroom, and we were supposed to throw a Christmas party for, I think it was like some 4th grade kiddos at a school where they told us a lot of these kids, if we weren't to bring presents, if we didn't bring presents, they may not get any. So we loved the opportunity, but the first thing I thought when I thought of a men's LTG decorating an elementary school classroom, I just thought, if they really let us decorate it, the kids will walk in and then run out. Like, it would be scary. They'd be like, I don't want a Christmas party. These guys are crazy. And so I called my wife. I'm like, babe, we need some decorating help up in here, okay? And they called girlfriends, whatever they had in the group. And we went to this classroom, and we decorated it all. We got presents for these kids. I remember going to the classroom. We played games with them and stuff. And we got to watch them open some of these presents. Again, we were told some of them probably wouldn't get many presents for Christmas. You know what we all knew in that moment? Sharing is so much better than being shared with. You know, a lot of times we don't realize that until we start to share. That's why we hoard stuff. My money's mine, God. My possessions are mine, God. It's because you've never given it away. But once you do, you realize Jesus knows what he's talking about when he says, more blessed to give than receive. That's what groups do. That's what happens when you get together in a group. You become more servant-like. You start to share more than you did before. So if you're not into sharing, you're like, my stuff is mine. You'll hate groups, okay? You shouldn't go. Ignore everything Clayton said. Okay, that's number 2. All right, here's number 3. One more. Acts 2:47. This is what happened when they met as a group. And each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who were being what? Those who were being saved. Here's reason number 3. If you're taking notes, you should not get involved in a group. Reason number 3 is this, is big. Don't get in a group if you don't like seeing people get saved, okay? Don't get involved in a group if you're just not into seeing people get saved. If you're like, I don't really care if they go to heaven or hell, okay? Seriously. I bet there's nobody like that, okay? I bet all of you care. But if somebody was like that, they're like, I don't care if people get saved or not. You're not going to like a group. You know why? It's what happens sometimes in groups. I've led a bunch of groups since the church started. We actually started in a group. It's so important to me. Before we even had services like this, we had groups. I led a group. We were reaching out to a neighborhood we were in, trying to connect with people. And there's this guy and his wife came over. He was a Marine. We were very thankful for his service to our country. And he had been all over the world. He had seen some pretty rough things. And he came into the group and he told me up front, he said, Chris, I'm not an atheist, but I'm skeptical about all this. Bible, Jesus, not sure about it all. I said, that's cool, man. You're welcome to still come and we'll talk about some things. I'll try my best to answer questions you have, but you should come. And so he keeps coming to this group, really probably just because he wanted to make new friends, he and his wife in the neighborhood. He comes for a while. I can tell God's opening his heart, doing something in his life in the context of a group. And he probably didn't know this, but a lot of us in the group that were believers in Jesus were praying for him and his wife. Remember, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year into this group meeting, he pulled me aside after the group and said, Chris, I want to talk to you. Now, he's a Marine. He was like, Chris, I want to talk to you. I'm like, yeah, yes, reporting for service. Yeah, what? Okay. Yeah, don't hurt me. And so, afterwards, and so I went up to him and he said, Chris, here's the deal, man. I told you in the beginning I was skeptical about all this Jesus stuff and resurrection and God, and I've seen some tough things in the world. How could God let that happen? I have all these questions. I've had them. But he said, I think I'm ready to commit my life to Christ. And I explained to him again what that was all about. He said, yeah, I want to become a follower of Jesus. So I remember there in my hallway, the group was kind of visiting. It was after the meeting. In my hallway, I put my hand on his shoulder and I prayed with him and committed his life to Christ. And right afterwards, he said, Chris, the next step is baptism, right? I said, it is. Yeah, Rob, that's the next step. His name was Rob. He said, yeah, I said, yes, the next step. He said, and you've told me before that God, Jesus, he accepts me as I am, right? I said, yeah, for sure he does, Rob. He said, well, I'm a Marine. And so I was just curious, you think God would mind if I got baptized in my dress blues? I said, I don't think God would mind at all. I think he'd really like it. So here's a shot from the day right before Rob got baptized in uniform, knowing that God would accept him just as he is. In his dress blues, he gets down in this tank. This was at a skating rink that our Southwest campus used to meet at. Gets down in this tank. And Rob, after having committed his life to Christ, gets baptized as a Marine. Isn't that pretty cool? Isn't that cool? These kinds of things happen in the context of groups. If you're not into that, you won't like groups at all. Because even if it doesn't happen in the group, in our groups, we keep each other accountable and praying for family and friends and people that we know that don't know Jesus, and we invite them to church or a group or whatever we think the best environment would be. And a lot of times that happens. And we think at this church, that's pretty awesome. My guess is you hate all three of my reasons, okay? And you don't buy into them. And they don't convince you not to get involved in a group because you want to see miracles. You want to share. You want to see people get saved. So here's the whole point, really. It was Clayton's big idea last week and mine too. Here's all we're trying to say to you is this in this series, is that circles are better than rows. Circles, meaning groups, like where you often sit in a circle so you can see each other and talk to each other. Circles are better than rows. Rows is what we're doing right now. Nothing wrong with it, but sitting in rows, listening to a guy talk. Now, I just want you to know, I'm thankful you guys come and sit in rows and listen to me talk sometimes. That's good. I'm glad I'm not just talking to one person, okay? So I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying this is better. It's been my experience. That's why we started in groups. It's been my experience. This is better, that groups are better than gatherings. And you're like, better at what? Well, life transformation. I'm not saying your life can't be transformed here. It can be. Many of yours has, is sitting in here. But it's getting involved in a group, to me, if you haven't been involved yet, where your growth, your relationship with God really takes off. Because you're doing life and you're doing this relationship with God among other people who desire the same thing. And it just helps. And it's just better at transforming your life. Groups are. Which is why we call them LTGs. What does that stand for? Life transformation groups. Why do we call them that? Because oftentimes that's what happens. That's what happened to me as a teenager. That's what's happened to many of you. That's what I think could or will happen to many of you if you decide to get involved in one of these groups too. So what's keeping you from doing that? We gave you these cards when you came in. You saw them last week, and if you were here, they basically just tell you how to go on our website and check that you're interested in a group and have a group leader contact you, invite you to the group, and then you show up and start doing group stuff. But it made a difference in my life. It made a difference in their lives, so much so they would risk being up in front of thousands of people to tell you about it. Would you give it a chance to make a difference in yours? Maybe for you. That's the next step God's been prompting you to take to grow in your relationship with Jesus. And here's what I want to do to close. I just want to pray for you, because I know sometimes you can think, I don't have time, or that's weird, just showing up and guys and ladies and just I don't even know these people. I get it. So, but I believe God can do anything he wants, and one of the things I'm sure he wants to do is give you courage to want to be involved. So as we close just this session, would you let me pray for you? All of our campuses. God, thanks for just the folks that are here today to get to see this demonstration of what happens in an LTG, and then to get to find out what the real results are of being in a group, at least according to Acts 2. It's powerful, and my hope is that they want to be involved in one. But God, I know there's something holding a lot of them back. That's why not everybody's involved in a group. We've got a lot of people involved in groups here, but not everybody. Some people say I'm too busy, or don't have the time, or it seems like it'd be awkward. But God, you said we know that you can do anything you want to do. You're all powerful. And so you can convince us, God, that we're wrong. We do have time. It's not going to be awkward. And in fact, it'll help. Because it helped these early believers. Surely we don't think, God, we're more spiritually mature than them. We got it all together. They changed the world. A lot of that was in the context of a group, small group. God, would you give my friends here today just the desire to want to be involved in one? The desire to want to go to our website and say, I'm going to check it out and try it out. And even if they tried it out before and had a bad experience, they try another one out. We got so many groups, God, here. I just really want people to be involved in one, because I just think circles are better than rows. The groups are better than gatherings. That life transformation was true in my life, and God, I think it'd be true in theirs too. So God, do something today in all of our lives and fire us up about getting involved in a group in this church. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks for checking out one of our messages today. For more information about our church or to watch other messages, you can go to our website at experiencelifenow.com. Let us know if we can serve you in any way, and we hope to see you real soon.